What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Saturday, November 22nd, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of upstate New York here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's coming on with me today. So I should say. She is overseas in the UK. She is a U.S. showbiz reporter out there, but she also worked for the Tab as well. So she has a plethora of experience being in the reporting industry. Her name is Charl Wright, and we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism. We're also going to ask her some get to know you questions as well. So without any further ado, Charl, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Once again, you look absolutely lovely tonight on this lovely Saturday night. Well, evening over there, afternoon here. But yes, you look lovely. I want to first start off by asking you this question. It's the same question that I have for all of my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models or any inspirations, maybe growing up? But ultimately, what is your why of getting into journalism?
So, I actually didn't want to be a journalist originally. I'm quite new into the industry. My big why is because there were so many things that I enjoyed, and I couldn't find a job that encapsulated everything. Like, I love a true crime documentary, I love learning about
Mhm.
politics, I love going about out and about talking to people, and I just couldn't find one job that fit it all. And then I thought, well, people write about that. They write about all these different topics for one job. They cover all these things that I enjoy.
Absolutely.
So why don't I go into journalism? So that's originally why I wanted to do it, because I liked so many things and I couldn't find one specific job that fit them all. Then I realized, oh, of course, I can just write about them.
Absolutely. Now, the aspect of journalism, like, do you like maybe like the writing part? Do you like the broadcasting part? Do you like both parts? What part of journalism do you like the most? Because there's the print side and there's the broadcast side.
Yeah, so my actual training is in
Okay.
broadcast. So I did my master's in broadcast journalism here in the UK. I did it at Cardiff University.
Hmm.
So I am actually trained in broadcast, so TV, radio, digital. But my main experience comes from written. So I do digital journalism,
Okay.
online journalism. So I started just doing it voluntarily when I was 19, and that's kind of where my experience came from. But I thought, well, I want to get as much kind of experience. I want to be well rounded as a journalist, which is why I chose broadcast for my training, so I could kind of cover everything pretty much bar print. Um, so yeah, I I like both sides of it, but I love online. That's where my heart is. Writing is what I enjoy the most. But I do also love running a team and editing and watching other people's work become brilliant. They hand me these great pieces, but I like to just bring it up that little extra notch. So there isn't really an aspect I don't like,
Hmm.
but writing and editing at the moment is probably what I would say I enjoy the most.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you there. I love writing feature stories myself, especially long form feature stories. Anytime I get a chance to sit down and talk to somebody and hear about their stories and be able to write about it in a descriptive way, whether it's on print or where people can just kind of see themselves inside of the story that you write, that's one of my favorites. Now, covering sports, obviously, I love
Hmm.
covering sports, no question about that. But feature stories are just different because they're personal interest stories, and you really be able to get to know an individual, to sit down and talk with them, and then them have them share with you, you share with them, and kind of build that bond between that story that you're doing. So that's the stuff that I love. That's the aspect I love more than anything in
Hmm.
journalism as well. You talked about it. You said you got your master's. I too have my master's, and we both went to the same school to get our bachelor's and our master's. So I want to know, um, what were there any other schools that you were considering outside of the school that you went to? And if so, what were those schools? And did you ever think about coming over to the States?
So for my undergraduate, I looked at lots of different ones in the UK. So I did politics and
Mm.
Spanish for my
Yeah.
undergrad. So my bachelor's, as you guys would say. And I did look at other British universities, but I didn't consider anything abroad. I did spend time in Barcelona as part of that, so I have studied outside of the
Okay.
UK as well.
Okay.
But for my masters, there was no other choice for me. Cardiff has such a brilliant
Mm,
reputation. The lecturers, the type of masters you take with the BJTC accredited course made sense for me to do that. And I knew the city. I didn't really think of anywhere else. I know City University in London is really good. Sheffield, they're both really good
right.
universities for journalism, but it just didn't make sense for me to leave when I already had such a brilliant university on my doorstep. But no, we're talking about the States. It's a bit pricey compared to here, unless I'd have got a scholarship. So no, I didn't look at the
I
US.
keep hearing that. And, I've never been to the UK, and I do have a UK question for you a little bit later on in this conversation because I'm intrigued to go there for sure. Just got my passport this past October, so I'm going to be traveling everywhere, and I love to travel. So we're definitely going to talk about some UK stuff for sure. No question about that. I want to ask you some favorite questions, okay? And you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions, okay? So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
I do. I do cook a lot. I am a big meat eater. I do like a steak, so I cook a lot of steak. I've got steak for dinner. I was going to say for tea. That's what we say
Mm,
in
mm.
England for dinner. Later, anything like a chicken in a mushroom sauce or something like that, absolutely love as well. So a steak or some sort of chicken in a sauce is normally what I would go
Okay,
for.
you already won my heart, Charles. There's no question about that. I'm a huge meat person, no question. Now, the big question though is, how do you like to cook your steak?
Oh, I'm medium rare. I can't have a burnt
Okay,
steak.
hello, I'm with you on that. We are in agreement, girl. So we are starting off. I like that. I'm a huge taco person. So if it's not chicken,
Hmm.
steak, pork chops, whatever it is, tacos for me, for sure. I can definitely whip up some good
Yeah, good
tacos for
choice.
sure. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
It would probably have to be Sabrina
Oh,
Carpenter or Pitbull. I saw them both this
oh.
year. The cheesier the better. If I can have a dance, I love that sort of thing. Sabrina I saw in London and Pitbull I saw in London, and they were both so much fun. Definitely would recommend, and I definitely go and see them
Was
again.
it at the O2 Arena that you saw him? The O2?
Yeah, both were at the O2.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you, got you. I'm huge into both of those artists. Those are amazing artists. I'm a huge pop, R&B, rap kind of person. So I don't know if you know the
Hmm.
artist The Weeknd. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's one of my favorites. That's probably my favorite concert that I've ever went to. So love The Weeknd. He was great here in the States for sure.
Mhm.
Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Um, that's quite a difficult one actually. I would probably say the place I always go back to is Spain. I mean, I absolutely love Spain. Like I said, I lived in Barcelona, so I'd probably say my experience there is probably the best time I've ever had abroad,
Absolutely.
living in the city. But I'm always visiting. I've travelled up and down the country twice, and I spend a lot of time in the south of Spain. So, for me, if anyone's offering me a trip to Spain, Ibiza as well, of
Mm,
course.
okay.
Then I'm always down to go.
Well, I definitely have to get some Rex from you. I've never been to Spain. That's on the bucket list of mine, for sure. Jamaica would be my favorite. No question about that. Love
Hmm.
Jamaica.
I've never been.
Okay, well, see, we can help each other out. You give me some Rex, I give you some Rex. Jamaica was a beautiful spot,
Hmm.
great food, great people, great beaches. If you like, I'm a sun person, so I definitely like more sort of
Yeah.
warmer weather than cold weather. Although I'm living here in New York and it's very cold at the moment, but I
Hmm.
love beaches. That's my vibe. So definitely love that. So yeah, I can definitely give you some Rex on that. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite places for sure. Um. I'm a sports person, so I'm gonna ask you this sports question, okay? It's a two-part sports question. Favorite
Yeah.
sport you like to watch on TV, favorite sport you like to attend in person. They can be the same sport.
So to watch on TV would be football or rugby. Obviously we have a massive culture around
Mhm.
it in the
Mhm.
UK. So going to the pub, having a few drinks and watching the football, there's nothing
Mhm.
better. Same with rugby. When I lived in Cardiff, we were out literally every weekend watching Wales. So I'd say they're probably the two that I enjoy watching the most. Um, but if I'm going to go and see sport, I like to go and watch netball. That's a massive sport in amongst girls, especially in the UK. Play it at school. We play it from quite a young age. I still play it now, twice a week,
Oh,
and it's just such a wholesome vibe. It's so lovely. Tickets aren't too expensive either, and it's just really enjoyable day out. And it's quite easy to meet the players as well. They're really welcoming. So it's definitely something I'd recommend to anyone who wants to have a look maybe at a different sport they haven't seen before. Netball is great.
okay. Now netball is netball. I mean, obviously, it's obviously throwing the ball into a net. But are we talking like shoot the ball
Hmm.
into the net? Are we talking hockey style where you hitting the
Yeah,
puck, or is it like basketball?
like basketball with no bouncing.
Got you. Basketball with no bouncing. I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, you can do a bounce pass, but you wouldn't dribble a ball. You're not allowed to do that. It is just literally passing and shooting. It's quite a quick game. You have to be super fit, super agile, but it's lots of fun. And we do have mixed teams as well, so men do play as well.
Okay, I might have to check that out when I do come to the UK for sure. No question about that. I
Hmm.
love that. That sounds amazing. I would definitely say mine is football. No question. Love watching football. Whether it's soccer, whether it's American football, it doesn't matter which one it is. I love that.
Yeah,
And basketball will be the one that I love to attend. That's me. No question about that. So that's my favorite sport, basketball. That's why I'm intrigued to see some netball over there for sure.
yeah.
Um, Last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant that you like to eat out at?
Um, there's quite a few nice ones
Mhm.
here. There's a restaurant in it's like in central London. It's near Oxford Street called Harry's. That's really, really nice. I would recommend that to anyone coming to London. They've got a few of them in London. They've got one in Barcelona as
Mhm.
well. Absolutely lovely food. It's Italian,
Mm.
so I'd recommend that
Okay.
one. Um, and then I'm trying to think of other places. Like if I go home, I love like a roast dinner. I'm so typical. So any kind of pub that can do a proper roast dinner with good gravy, good roast potatoes, and nice meat. I do think if you go out of the city and go into the country, there are some nicer options for that. So some local places near me, I would definitely recommend. But if you're in London, definitely go to Harry's. I always have a nice meal there. It's not extortionately priced, and it's got a really varied menu. So that's my recommendation.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I'm a huge food person, huge going out person, so I love that. So obviously anytime I'm in London, I'm gonna definitely have to go to Harry's, you said, right? Harry's? Yeah.
Yeah,
Harry's,
Harry's.
right. Harry's restaurant. And I definitely would have to say what's up to you. I definitely would have to do that. That's for sure. I would love that.
Of
Um,
course.
I want to be able to get into your day-to-day operations. And the reason why
Hmm.
is I want to know, like, what time do you normally start? What time or how many stories, sorry, that you do a week or maybe in a day? With broadcast is much different than print. I have a background in both,
Hmm.
you have a background in both, but when you are doing broadcast, you're typically carrying equipment or you have a camera person and you're trying to get live shots, multiple live shots. With print's a little different. What you have to do is, you go out, you cover whatever event it is, you write about it, and then you typically try to get it in before
Hmm.
it goes to paper. So tell me what your day-to-day operations is on a weekly basis of how many stories you have to do, how long do you have to work, what type of stories you do.
Okay, so like my typical day is that I'll start at 7. So when we start, the late team from LA finish. So that's they finish, we begin, and then as we finish, New York begins. That's kind of how it goes. We're a 24-hour
Right.
team. So us in the UK and Ireland, we come in at 7, and then so the first thing I'll do is I'll check and see if my editors put anything on my list they want me to get started on. First, she normally puts one story on just so I've got something to start before I check for my
Sure.
own pictures. So I'll start doing that. And as I'm writing, I'll scroll through my phone, TikTok, stuff like that as I'm doing it, see if any videos pop up that I think would be good stories. Then I'll just have a look on the internet, have a look through my emails, that sort of thing. Sometimes I've thought of ideas in the middle of the night and written them on my phone. So then I'll collate all my pictures, put them together in an email, and then my editor, Scarlett, she goes through them all for
Mhm.
me. And then she selects ones that she wants, ones that she doesn't want, and then we put them on my list. So we use this software called Trello, and it
Yep.
basically is like a listing thing. So my editors can see what I'm
Right.
writing, when I'm done, if I need images, that sort of thing. So I'll do that. And we have a meeting at 8:30, and that's between the UK and Ireland team. So we will just say it's showbiz and news are on that call. We don't have sport on that
Right.
call. And we'll go through our pitches, our ideas, and then the main editor, our deputy editor, John, he will kind of ask us any questions about it or say if he thinks a certain angle would work better, and he goes through our stats and we see what's done well, what kind of tags people are clicking on, what people want to read about, and then we do that at 8:30, and then at 9 our SEO email comes through.
Mhm.
So we check all about, we have a great guy called Jake, he is so on the ball with seeing what people want to read today, what are people googling, what do people want to know. We can answer those questions for them in our articles. So he does that. And then throughout the day, it's just writing. I write about, my minimum would be 7 a day, sometimes 9 a day. Articles, it depends. And then throughout the day, I'll also email PR, and I'll speak to sources, and I'll get exclusives. I just kind of like weave that into my day. And then at 1:30, we have a call with our fabulous team in New York when they come on. So we speak to the girls, kind of hand over anything, and then at 3 p.m. I finish.
Wow, that is quite a day, Charles. There's no question about that. But
Yeah.
I love that it keeps you busy, keeps you, doing what you
Mm-hmm.
love to do. I love the fact that you put SEO because a lot of people might not know what SEO is, but explain to the people what
Mm-hmm.
SEO is and what that stands for in the journalism aspect.
So SEO means search engine optimization. So basically, we can see what the trends are on Google that day, what people in different regions are looking at, what they're interested in, what terms specifically they're Googling. So we can tailor our articles to mention these terms and to talk about these
Mhm.
things. So say Donald Trump is trending and it's Donald Trump talking, I don't know, with Zelensky about something. The trends might be Donald Trump Zelensky, or Zelensky White
Right,
House, or Donald Trump White
right.
House. Those terms will be the ones that people are Googling. So we need to make sure that we include those in our articles so that they flag up on Google. And if you include all of these sort of terms people are looking up, the articles will move higher on Google and get a higher readership, because Google knows you're answering the questions that people are kind of asking you. You have the information that people want to read. So Jake, who does our SEO, finds all these interesting terms and what people are looking up, and then we can just message him and say, what are your related terms with that? What sort of things would you recommend that we include? Same for the headline, that sort of thing. And then he can help us sort of tailor our articles so we can make sure that when a reader has a question and they Google it, my article comes up and I can make sure I answer that question for them.
Absolutely. Great breakdown of that. And it's very important. That's how we get traffic, right? That's how we get numbers. That's how we get
Mm-hmm.
viewership. That's how we make money. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way journalists do it. Everybody has an
Yeah.
SEO team, whether it's broadcast, print, doesn't matter what kind of publication it is. SEO is so important. And most people are on the ball when it comes to that. But that's
Mm-hmm.
typically what SEO is. And I love that. Love that you broke that down. But that's a great segue though, Charles, because I want to now talk about work-life balance, and I also want to talk about mental health. Now, you talked about your day of a day-to-day operation starting at 7, going till 3. Obviously, when it's 7 out there, it's or 7 in the morning out there, particularly it's 2 a.m. in New York. It's very early in the morning. Talk to me about mental health and your work life balance, because number one, you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. There's no question. Very personality wise, easy to talk to. Obviously, somebody that works hard and plays hard. No pun intended for the podcast. But you also seem like you're very serious about your craft. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also still have that work life balance.
So I think you need to learn when to shut off. That's probably the thing that I struggle with the
Hmm.
most, especially if an article's doing well. I can't stop looking at my stats. I can't log off. I have to have a look. I have to see how well everything's doing. I do find it difficult to shut off in that respect, but I do make sure that I have plans with my friends. I do things. I go to events. I know the events are work ones, but I'm never going to say no to a premiere. I'm never going to say no
Right.
to a nice drink with some fellow journalists or a chat with some PR people. It's just something nice to do. It's just a nice evening out. So I do make sure that when I'm not checking my stats, I do try and stay away from my laptop
Sure.
sometimes, that I am seeing other people and making sure that I do get that face to face sort of connection with people, whether, like I said, that be my friends, if we just go to the pub, playing netball, or just going to different events. Like if I pop down to a screening, I can normally take a friend, so it's just a nice little trip out.
Mhm.
I also think I understand this obviously isn't the situation for all people because not all people have these kind of relationships, but I have a really close relationship with my family.
Yep.
So I am lucky I only live 2 hours away from where I'm originally from. I'm originally from near Birmingham.
Okay.
So I can go back and see them if I do need some sort of like respite from the city and I just need some family time. I can. I speak to my mom and my dad every day. I make sure that I can just kind of debrief with them, tell them about the day. My dad is so supportive and so proud. If I'm ever having a hard day, I will just need to tell my dad what I've done. He thinks it's the most incredible thing in the world, and I always appreciate that. And same with my mom. Every time I talk to her about, I don't know, I've emailed some crazy celebrity, it's the coolest
Mhm.
thing. So it's kind of nice just to have that sort of positivity in my life. Um, but it is hard to switch off as a journalist. I think it's just in our nature. Like we can't stop digging. We can't stop looking for a story. Like if I see a story and I'm not on shift, I'll still send it
Right.
in because I'm like, someone needs to cover that. It looks great. No, we need to cover that now. I don't switch off. And when I go to PR events, yes, I am making contacts. And when I'm going to screenings, yes, I am writing down ideas for the articles I'm going to write once the embargo lifts. I do find it hard to shut off, but it does help that I love my job. I really do love being a
Mhm.
journalist, and that no one at work is ever pressuring me to do more. It's I'm just doing more because I genuinely enjoy it. But if someone else isn't in that situation, I would say family and friends are the main one. If you can do any sport, obviously not everyone's able to, but if you can find something like netball or football, or even if it's just walking rugby
Absolutely.
or something like
Yeah.
that, or a walking club,
Right.
just getting out and about and having a chat with people is so important, because we're so focused on other people's lives with our jobs that sometimes I think we forget to kind of chat about what's going on in our own lives. I am an inherently positive person
Yep.
though. I am quite logical. I think sometimes it's a very British way of being, stiff upper lip. And I think sometimes when I'm stressed or I'm anxious over something, I have to sit and almost be logical and say, Charl, why are you anxious over this? What is being anxious going to do? Is this going to make this problem any better?
Absolutely.
You sitting down and being upset over it? No. So what are we going to do to make it better? Can we do something productive? And can we, I don't know, speak to dad and get some advice, or speak to mom just to get it off my chest, and then the problem's shared and the problem's then halved. I don't think you should be by yourself, I think, is probably, I guess, the main thing with all of these, because all of the things I've mentioned involve people. But also reach out if you don't have anyone. There are people and companies and organisations to reach out with too. And I do make sure that if I do any articles that involve anything of that kind of nature, I always put a link at the bottom. So there is always someone to talk to if anyone listening is in a difficult situation at the moment.
Love that. And that's so beautiful what you just said. And listen, you gave great answers all conversation long, and I know you're going to continue to do that. But it's a question. It's a question worth asking because I bring it up to a lot of people that's in the media industry, a lot of people that's in other industries as well. Mental health is a real thing. Breakdowns do happen. People do step away from this industry
Mm-hmm.
because their mental health is affected. But they also step away because of work life
Yeah.
balance, because sometimes the balance just can never be figured out. And balance looks different for each individual. That's why I like to ask each individual of what is your work life balance, right? The fact that you do play netball, the fact that your parents are a couple hours away, you can call mom or dad. Yeah, there's a luxury and a blessing that we don't take for granted because everybody doesn't have that luxury. But there are
Mm-hmm.
different companies, there's different hotlines, there's different people, there's different resources that you can, get a hold of and call and be able to talk to if you do feel alone and you don't feel like you can reach out to an individual. Like there's always something to reach out to. I'm also the same way, Charles. I am very positive. I feel like every problem that you can have always has a solution. And maybe that's kind of a cheesy way to say it, but at the same time, I really do feel that. I feel that you have to really sit down and be logical and think out what the real right solution is. And it may not be a quick fix. Some problems are not quick fix.
Hmm.
Some problems take time, and you have to realize that.
Yeah.
So, but in this industry, it's cool to keep a calm head. It's also cool to be realistic. It's also cool to understand that you're going to have some tough days. I know you've had some tough days reporting. I've also had some tough days reporting. That's just the nature of our business, of what we do. But we love what we do. Sometimes people get a misconception, Charles, of they see the pretty
Hmm.
lady or the handsome guy on TV. Oh, I want to do that. They're telling stories. It must be fun, and it is fun. It's great. We love what we do, but there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't realize or understand because they're not in it. They're not in the industry. And that's why I do what I do here with the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It's people that need to understand that if you want to be in this industry, you got to get into it for the right reasons. Do you agree with that?
No, I completely agree. I think people look at the glamour and the
Hmm.
lights and the telly or the
Hmm.
TV, and I think they think it's all fabulous. Which, yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining when I go to a premiere or writing about fun things every
Sure.
day and getting to watch really great
Hmm.
programs, and it is a great job. It is wonderful. But there is the side that we are public facing, and being public facing also means people aren't always very
That's right.
nice. You do get some really nice people, but you do have to be thick skinned. I mean, I've had some really horrible comments said about me. People have emailed
Right.
me, people have emailed my other colleagues. It does seem to be quite common, especially amongst the female journalists that I know.
Yeah.
Um, and it is glamorous and it is fun, and we get all these great experiences and get to meet these wonderful, talented people, actors and comedians and all sorts of singers. Like it's fabulous. But on the other hand, you then get the nasty emails and the comments on Facebook, or people finding you, or when you tell someone you're a journalist and they automatically assume that you're horrible and that you're nasty, or they don't want to talk to you because they can't trust
Right.
you. There is that side, which is the less positive side, which I do think people need to take into account. And when I was running teams at the Tab, I had 12 teams, about 60 editors underneath me, and they would sometimes get some backlash for things that they did. And I would have to say, as harsh as it sounds, this is just going to be your life as a journalist. Like, I'm always here to support you night and day. You're upset, you let me know and I'll sort
Sure.
it. But this is just what the world's like. We're so easy to access with social media. Someone can find me on Instagram
Yep.
or Twitter or my email, which is literally on my author profile, and send me hate. And I do try and say, though, that my only piece of advice really for that one is, do you care about their opinion on anything else in the world? If not, then don't care when it's about you. That's my only piece of
Hmm.
advice I would say on the
I
negative
love
side of
it.
it. But I do think people need to take that into consideration when they're looking to be a journalist.
Absolutely, absolutely, and again, wonderfully said. I try to tell. I also substitute teach. I try to tell my high schoolers that want to go into journalism or ask me questions about journalism, like get into it for the right reasons. Yes, do
Mm-hmm.
everything. Don't just limit yourself into one aspect of journalism. There's so many different jobs out here that you can do. You can work with PR, you can do communications, you can work with sports teams, you can do stations, publications, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You do that. But the one of the other things that I do tell them is that understand that you got to have some thick skin as well. Everybody's not gonna like you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is just not gonna like you, and that's just in life. That has nothing to do with just the industry. That's life in general. There's just people that's gonna just dislike you for no reason. You're not gonna understand why. And it's okay to not understand
Yep.
why. But you have to stay true to yourself and be true to who you are. And if this is what you want to do, jump with both feet into the pool, as I always tell people, and swim and do what you need to do. If there's something that you don't want to do, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay too. You might try it, and then it might not be for you. It's okay to pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot as well. So I
Yep.
always tell people that as well. Great segue though, because again, I want to ask you now, you gave a little bit, but I want to ask you about advice. What is some advice that you
Hmm.
would give someone that wants to be the same thing that you're doing right now, that wants to be in broadcast journalism, that has that desire and passion that you have?
So, for broadcast, my biggest advice is if you can get the qualification, it makes a massive difference here, especially. So, we have BJTC accredited courses, which are the broadcast ones, and then we also have NCTJ accreditation, which is online print, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Definitely go in and get that. A lot of companies are asking for accreditation now. I was asked for it in my like interview phone call to have any
Right.
accreditation. So obviously said my course was BJTC accredited. I had done media law, which is really important. Different now, I'm doing American stuff because obviously I'm American media law, but I am trained in British. So I know about all my guidelines. So IPSO is our main one here. My editorial guidelines, the BBC one's a really good one to follow, to read upon. So I would say go and get yourself on a course if you can. They have lots of scholarships if money is an issue. In the UK, there is the postgraduate loan as well. If you've done an undergrad, you can often get discounts at your own university if you move on to their postgrad. I would definitely say it's a worthwhile investment for sure. The majority of people I know on my course, they're in some really great jobs at the moment. There's some people that are freelancing, some people that have got contracts,
Mhm.
and people that have decided they didn't want to be journalists and move into something else, but they still have the skills. So that's my main piece of advice. If you can get on the course, get on the course. Then I would probably say in general, for being a journalist, like I said, try and get yourself a thicker skin. It is really tough and it's horrible when people are mean to you, and don't take it to heart, because I'm sure whoever's listening is a wonderful person, and these people don't know you. They know nothing about
Right.
you bar the fact you wrote an article they didn't
Mhm.
like. So try and not take it to heart, and try and remind yourself that you are worthy. You are a good journalist, and you are worthy to be in the space that you're in. If you're writing articles for your student newspaper or at high school, or you're freelancing, there's a reason that you're there, and that you should continue to be there, and just ignore any of the negative comments. Bit different if you go around being offensive and rude and saying things that are false, but as long as your heart's in the right place and you're trying to put out good journalism, then you've got it. It's fine. Just ignore them. Um, I would also say don't be afraid to reach out to people. A lot
Absolutely.
of my friends, they have their jobs through making
Mhm.
contacts. Um, like I always share on my LinkedIn if we have any freelance opportunities. I know other people that do that. I always try and share them when I see them, so I remember what it was like looking after my
Sweet.
students and wanting to make sure that they got all these opportunities. So I do that and I make sure to share things. It is a difficult industry to get into at the moment, so I would also prepare yourself for that.
Yes.
There are a lot of cuts at the moment. There isn't necessarily all the funding that we should be getting. So if you can, try and make contacts to pick up small shifts when you can. Do it, because any experience is better than none. So long as you're in that newsroom, you're making contacts, even if it's not really in the sector that you want to be in. I've worked in newsrooms where I probably wouldn't imagine myself in the
Sure.
future, but I made contacts and I still learned things there. So take on everything you can get, and reach out to, people like me and other people of a similar age. I mean, I'm 25, I've only just
Mm.
qualified, and I'm more than willing to help because I've been in that situation. So reach out to people like us. We're not going to bite. We are friendly. We're just normal people. And most of us, I would say, are here to help because we remember exactly what it's like to be in their situation before we became
Oh,
journalists.
no question. No question. I graduated in 2021 with my bachelor's, and I just got my master's this year. So I totally understand what you're talking about. I love the fact that you said networking. Networking is so important.
Hmm.
Probably more important in this industry than probably even other industries. Like networking is important in other
Yeah.
industries as well, but this industry for real. Like you get jobs sometimes based upon what you know and who you know. The who you know part is really big because there's people that can put in a good word for you. That can kind of, I hate to almost say it, but it kind of skips you. It skips you to the front of the line almost, or to even closer to the
Hmm.
front because of who you know and what you have done. So I love the networking part of that, and I love that you said that for sure. That's a great answer. We came to the portion of the podcast now that we are going to play my interactive game. which is called this or that.
Hmm.
So basically, what it is that I throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, Charles, are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay. All
I
right,
am
here we
ready.
go. Out of these two restaurants, okay,
Hmm.
which restaurant would you rather eat at?
Hmm.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's. It's a classic post night out staple in the UK.
Hmm. Okay. I cannot wait to try some UK McDonald's. I'm not a huge McDonald's
It
buyer,
is
but
great.
I will definitely try some for sure. It's on the bucket list. Okay,
Yeah.
McDonald's. Here we go. Do you eat chicken wings, by the way?
I'm more of a boneless chicken wing, but I will eat a chicken
Okay,
wing.
so I want to ask you this. Out of these two flavors, which flavor would you rather
Hmm.
put on the wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Yeah. Ooh, I would say barbecue.
Okay. You like boneless. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
I'd rather go dry.
Oh, do you eat your wings with a fork?
Yeah, so when I go to like Wingstop, Wingstop's in
Oh
America,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Wingstop. I always go for a dry rub, and I'm a lady, so I am a knife and fork, but I'm boneless, so it's allowed. I think you're allowed to use a knife
Oh,
and fork when it's
oh,
boneless.
for sure, no question. Now, listen, me as a man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like it boneless. There's no question about it. But I also like it
Hmm.
wet. So give me a wet wipe. I go to work, barbecue, lemon pepper, and I'm doing my thing. I'll give a nice cold beverage. That's
Nice.
just what I love to do. But yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you like boneless. That's amazing.
Hmm.
These next five questions have to do with music concerts
Hmm.
you rather attend. Okay, so is there a
Hmm.
particular genre of music that you like more so than the other?
Do you know what? Anything like pop, R&B, anything that's popular, I'm very basic.
Okay, I like that. I like the fact that you're very basic because I am too. So it's likewise. I like that. Okay, this first one is R&B. Which
Hmm.
music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Chris Brown or Usher?
I like Chris Brown's music, don't necessarily appreciate some of the
Hmm.
things he's been accused of in the
That's true.
past, so I would say Usher.
Okay. Okay. Had the pleasure of seeing both of them. Actually met Usher before. I was working at a
Hmm.
job and he came in to buy something and I met him and he was very nice and cool. I would probably say Usher as well, but that's very close for me. Very close because I love Chris Brown's music. He's pretty good. Okay.
Hmm.
Here we go. Which music artist would you rather go see? Beyonce or Rihanna?
I've seen Rihanna twice, but I would still say Rihanna again because she is just incredible.
Okay, okay. Now see that is a hot take right there. Okay, because most people would pick
Hmm.
Beyonce, but you know what? I would say Rihanna too, but probably for a different reason because I have not seen Rihanna live. I've seen
Yeah.
Beyonce 3 times, so I've seen her enough.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I've seen her enough. Two of the times that I saw her was doing event security, and another time was actually with
Hmm.
just a group of friends of us from work that we all went to the concert. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Um,
Oh.
Next one. I'm a person that loves all kind of music. Not sure if you're huge in the country, but I'm not a huge country person. But here we go. Which music artist would you rather go see? Carrie Underwood or would you rather see Casey Musgraves?
Carrie Underwood, definitely.
Okay, okay. I'm with you on there. So we could
I feel like she does a good breakup song, doesn't she? Like
very good.
she's if you want to scream a song, Carrie's got you.
Absolutely. And also her champion song. I don't know if you remember the champion song, the song she did with Ludacris is one of my favorite songs as well of hers, for sure. Here we go. Changing genres again. Which music
Hmm.
concert would you rather go see? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh, well, I feel like as a journalist, I've covered their feud quite a
Hmm.
bit. I would say Kendrick.
Charles, you definitely have my heart. You have my heart, girl. There is no question about it. You are on fire with these questions. I definitely would choose Kendrick Lamar. Not saying I don't like Drake now.
Hmm.
I don't want to say I don't like Drake. Drake is
No.
good. He's good. But
Hmm.
Kendrick Lamar, I would definitely choose for sure. Last
Yeah.
one of the questions as far as music goes. Which music concert would you rather go see? Lil Wayne or Eminem?
I'd say Eminem. Just, I feel like it would be a really good experience to see him. I think if he came and did an arena tour here, it would just be incredible.
I got you. I got you on that. I definitely would say Eminem as well. Although I did just see Lil Wayne in August, and he put on
Mm-hmm.
quite a show, so that was amazing to see for sure. Okay, we're gonna switch it up and go back to sports. Which sport,
Mm-hmm.
if you had to, which sport would you rather watch on TV? Baseball or basketball?
Basketball.
Okay, okay, I like that. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Oh, that's hard because I actually used to be on the badminton team and we do quite a lot of
Mhm,
bowling, me and my
mhm.
friends. I would probably say we'll go with
Are
bowling.
y are you
That
are you a
that's my
good
choice.
bowler?
I have the sides up, so I'm good with the sides up, not good with the sides down. So
Mm.
I don't know, take from that what you will.
You know, that's okay. That's all right. Listen, you can't be perfect at everything. You are lovely in a lot of different ways, but listen, we all have our flaws, and I can't skate. That's for
Yeah.
sure. So no
Mm-hmm.
skating for me at all. I'm not sure if you're a skater or not, but I cannot ice skate or
No.
rollerblade. Can't do either or. I'm terrible. So yeah, I feel that. I'm a bowler, definitely for sure. I love to bowl, but I also love to play badminton as well. I used to play it a lot in grade school and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you like desserts?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
So I'm gonna name four categories of desserts. You have to choose one of these
Mm-hmm.
that you'll never eat again. So here we go. Okay.
Okay.
The first category is candy. The
Mm-hmm.
next category is cookies. The
Mm-hmm.
third category is ice cream. The last
Mm-hmm.
category is grouped together, so it's pies slash cakes. Which one are you getting rid of?
Candy or sweets, as we would say in the UK.
Okay, so what is your favorite ice cream?
I like to get like a Kinder Bueno flavored one. Like if I go to like a nice Italian gelato place where they make all these exciting flavors, I always get a Kinder Bueno flavored one. Do you have Kinder Buenos in the
It
US?
might be a little differently put as far as the title. What's in that ice cream?
So it's from a chocolate bar,
Okay.
which is like it's kind of, I guess almost like wafery, like a long wafery one.
Mm.
And then it's filled with like a hazelnutty kind of cream covered in chocolate.
Oh,
Really nice. Well, when they do it in an ice cream, it's like a hazelnutty ice cream with chocolate running through it, vanilla. It's just fabulous. You can normally get it from places that do like homemade
okay.
ice cream. So I would definitely recommend
Well,
that.
I'm definitely going. I'm gonna have to have you show me that place. No question about that. Please do. No
Mm,
question. I'm a cookies and cream guy. For sure. So
nice. Yeah.
Oreos, cookies and cream, vanilla, that's what I like for sure. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
like potato chips? Okay.
Yes.
So it's the same format. I'm gonna name four brands of potato chips. Now
Okay.
I know you guys do not have Ruffles as a brand out there, if I'm not mistaken.
We have them in Europe, so I have had
You
ruffles
have had
before.
Ruffles. Okay, here we go. So
Yeah.
Ruffles is one.
Hmm.
Doritos is two. Doritos. Three
Hmm.
would be Lay's, and four
Hmm.
would be Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of?
I would have to say Lay's or Walkers, as we call them
Walkers. Yep.
here. It's the same
Yep.
crisp, but yeah, they're nice and they do good flavors. But I prefer like a really flavorful crisp, like a cheesy Dorito.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you what, you don't have to name those other three, but what is your favorite chip? If I said, Charles, we're going to the store together, buy your favorite chip,
Mm.
what chip are you buying?
I like beef hula hoops. I don't know if you have hula hoops
Oh,
in
oh.
America, but
Mm-mm.
they are the best. I have one pack a day of hula hoops, barbecue flavor, like it's barbecue beef, I think it's called, and they are so good.
Okay, so when I do make my trip out there, please buy me a pack. And I promise you, I
Yeah.
will try that pack and I will make no judgment on the first chip that I buy. Because typically you got to eat a few chips in order to make a good judgment about them, for sure. I'm with
Hmm.
you on that. Okay, you did pretty good on this or that. Very decisive. I like that. I really like that, Charles. So that was pretty good. My next question to you is called bucket list. And I like to ask everybody this question on here because I want you to kind of speak it into existence almost. I want you to give me a bucket
Hmm.
list of a top four of events or stories that you would like to do in your career that you haven't done yet. And I'll give you a prime example by giving you my four. So my four is going to be all sports related because I'm a sports reporter. So the first one is
Hmm.
going to be the NBA Finals. Huge basketball person, so I love the finals. The next one is going to be the Olympics because the Olympics is coming to Los Angeles in 28. So I definitely
Hmm.
want to do that. That's my hometown state, which is California. That's where I'm from. My third one is going to be something I may cross off the list this year, which is March Madness. Since March Madness is coming up here in, well, next March in Buffalo, New York, I'm thinking about doing that. I'm probably going to be covering that. So that's a dream of mine. My last one is going to be a World Series for baseball. I just love baseball
Hmm.
to death for sure. I did the Super Bowl last year in New Orleans. I'm going to do it again in San Francisco this year. But World Series as well. So, what would be your four?
So I'd love to go and cover the Met Gala at the Met instead of covering it from here.
Hmm.
Instead, actually be there, see all of the outfits, speak to the designers, speak to the wonderful celebrities, see the exhibits. I'd love to do that. I'd also love to cover the Oscars
Okay.
because I cover that from here, but it's not really the
Right.
same as doing
Right.
it, obviously, from the carpet. I'd like to do some sort of sit down interview with some big celebrity that's got something they just want to get off their chest, like when Caitlyn Jenner did her Vanity Fair, something like that, or just where people sit down, even like when Prince Andrew sat down with Emily Maitlis and spoke about the whole
I
Epstein
saw that. Yeah.
scandal. I would just like to be someone that sits down and gets to the bottom of a story. It doesn't have to be negative, it doesn't have to be positive. I just want to be the person that kind of breaks that big sort of like world changing story. Um, and then finally, I would just love to do some sort of day with a Kardashian and see what their life is really like and cover that. What are they really like as
Hmm.
people? What is it like being in their shoes? What is a real day like for Kim or Kylie or Chris? And just get to know the people behind the show. Because I know we see the
Hmm.
show and we see them on social media, but I just want to kind of expose them as themselves, to
Sure.
see, to show they are real people. They are, normal women. They are super successful. But what is it like to actually live a day in their life and kind of show people that no, they're not these inaccessible, unapproachable people. They are just normal people. They're still having their breakfast like you are. They're still, picking the kids up from school or doing whatever they do, washing their hair in an evening.
Right.
I just wanted to kind of spend time with a celebrity like that and show that actually they're not so different from us, bar obviously all the money.
Sure. No, listen, if you ever get that opportunity, I would definitely be tuned in for sure. There's no question about that. I would love to see what kind of report you write from that. And I can totally see you on a red carpet. I mean, I was thinking, looking at you and being like, wow, you would be amazing talking to different artists, actors, actresses. I think you would have great conversations with them. Obviously, you would look amazing on the red carpet. That's no question there. But just any kind of red carpet event, Oscars, Billboard Awards. I don't know if they do European type of movie awards or European like MTV stuff
Yeah.
out there, but I think you would be amazing doing that. So my bonus to you is, will we ever see you on a sports sideline? Because I would love to have you come over and cross over into my industry of sports. That would be amazing. What kind of sporting event would you like to do?
So we had to do specializations when we did my masters, and mine was sports journalism. Actually,
Hmm,
trying to broaden my appeal, I guess, to employers.
sure.
I would definitely do sideline interviews. I love Kate Abdo. I think she's
Hmm.
fabulous. I love seeing her and her doing interviews and her humor. I just think she is so wonderful. And if I'm ever going to watch Champions League coverage, it's always their coverage. It's always on CBS. So I definitely would do that,
Okay.
kind of do something to do with that. I would love to speak to Jude Bellingham because we're both from the same town.
Mm,
We're from like a little town in the West Midlands, which I don't really know anyone else that's kind of in this industry that's from there. So I'd love to speak to Jude.
okay.
I guess almost so my brain moves me to the more showbizy side because I would want to know about his upbringing and how fame has affected him coming from where we're from. But I would love to speak to someone like Bellingham. I think I would definitely be interested. If the opportunity came up and they needed someone to cover, I would be more than happy to go down and do the
We would
interviews.
love to have you in the sports. We would. I mean, it's a great industry. Obviously, you're doing a great job in those other genres as well. But yes, sports is definitely something that is big time out there too in the UK for sure. I want to ask you this though, being in news and covering showbiz and doing stories like
Mm-hmm.
that. Sometimes you have to cover hard news stories. It's not always the cookie cutter stories to where it makes you smile, makes you cry with joy, or have tears of joy. Is what I should say. Sometimes you have to do some real hard, cutting edge stories, and you have to write about some stuff that's tragic. How do you deal with hard news stories? Because sometimes there's reporters that bring it home with them and it's hard to shake it. It's hard to leave it at work. Do you find yourself bringing it home with you, or do you detach from it pretty easily?
I used to when I started. So when I started off as an assistant editor at the Tab, I covered a lot of suicides, student suicides, which unfortunately well, they're not super common, but they're common enough that I was probably
Sure.
covering one a week maybe. And it was people I was 24, so these people were like a few years younger than me. And it was really difficult to cover that, or accidental deaths, drug overdoses, that sort of thing. And I felt low. I don't think I'd say I felt like emotional or depressed, but I felt sad, and I always wanted to make sure that I did them justice in my articles. That was the kind of the main thing I wanted to do, and make sure that their family knew that I was going to write about how wonderful this person was, how much they're missed, and that they would have a lovely tribute to them from me or from one of my writers or other editors. Now doing showbiz, it's murder. It's probably the biggest one. I do a lot of true crime, so I do have to write about probably some of the most heinous crimes, I would say, because you're not going to do a documentary on something that's not
Right.
interesting. So I do have to read up a lot on some horrendous assaults and murder, treatment of women, and that can get upsetting. Some of the documentaries I watch can make me feel a bit low, especially if I see stuff happen to other women. It obviously it feels close to home,
Sure.
but I try and not take it back with me, because at the end of the day, I'm here to inform, I'm here to do a job, and I know that if I'm the person that's writing it, I will always try and make sure I'm doing that victim justice. I will always try and make sure that that deceased person is written about in the kindest way possible. So I don't mind taking them on. And as it goes on, it starts to not affect you as much, which is sad. But I do think that is just, we are so overly exposed now to violence on social media and in things like movies and documentaries, that you do become numb to
Right.
it. But if it ever does upset me, I do have it in the front of my mind that I know that I will always try and make sure that I do those victims justice in what I write. So that's kind of what keeps me going if I ever feel a bit sad.
No, I appreciate your transparency. I do. And I really do appreciate that answer. And I commend not only you, but all news and showbiz people that do that kind of coverage on the news. It's not an easy thing to do, to write about that, to be informative. It's not easy to stick a microphone in somebody's face through tragic times. Like, how much grace do you give a person, right? People grieve differently. So you never know when it's right to be able to ask them questions about their loved ones or a situation that has happened tragically. And I do commend you guys. Not to say that sports don't have hard news stories, because sports is hard, but typically in sports, there's a winner, there's a loser, and you kind of know going into it. Uh, one of the two is going to happen. Like you're either going to win, you're going to lose, and it's tough to deal with that. But you do know. But you don't never step out your door and be like, "Wow, somebody is going to not come back home tonight." That's not the thought process that
Yeah.
you normally have for sure. So I like that. I like that your mindset is what I'm saying and what you had. I want to ask you about advice that someone has gave you, Charl, that you hold on dearly to. We talked about advice you would give. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Um, One was probably where a few years ago I wouldn't say I was the confident person that I am now. I was more anxious, more reserved. Like we'd gone a
Mm.
night out and I wouldn't really dance, or I would never go and approach someone to speak to them. And I remember saying to my housemate that lived in Barcelona, Charlotte, she was so confident. She just like exuded this, like it was almost like magic. Like she was just the brightest star in the room. She still is. And I was like, how are you so fabulous? How are you so confident and sure of
Right,
yourself? And she told me that sometimes you do just have to fake it in the beginning, and then you realize you're worthy of feeling that way. Like you are worthy of feeling that confident in yourself. You're worthy of, you are not taking up space dancing on that dance floor. You are not doing anyone any disservice by being happy about the way that you look, or the nice outfit that you're wearing, or the fact that you're smart. Like you're allowed to be confident. So I always carry that with me, and I did fake it. And now I'm super confident and I'll chat to anyone, and I'll have a dance with my friends, and I don't feel like I'm taking up any space. I feel like I'm where I should be. And I'd say like another piece of advice is my dad is always giving me advice. I definitely messed around a bit when I was in sixth form, or I guess you guys would still be in high school, but when you're kind of doing your qualifications to go to university, and didn't really focus very much. I kind of wasted my opportunities, and I didn't do as well as I should have done. I was kind of thinking I would skate through, and I didn't skate through. And my parents were like, okay, well, you've got to kind of sort yourself out now. Like, it's up to you.
right.
And it wasn't necessarily words of advice, but it's my dad kind of forced me to be resilient. And he was like, you've messed up. You're going to fix it, and you're going to be better off when you fix
Hmm.
it. And kind of almost that sort of, he used to sit on the end of my bed and be like, look, Charlotte, I'm a bit disappointed in you, like that you could do so much better. And it's not necessarily a piece of advice, but it's having that reaction,
Right.
having that kind of support, and that I know you can do better, that made me a resilient person. I decided to work super hard and get myself into university, into a Russell Group University, which are our most like acclaimed unis in the
Yeah.
UK, and get the career that I've got, because they were like, no, it's your fault. You messed around. We are disappointed in you. Now it's time to get yourself back together.
Absolutely.
And I really kind of appreciate that. I didn't need the sympathy. I didn't need the, oh, woe is me. You messed about and now you're not doing as well as you should have done. Like I missed out on a scholarship because of it. And they were like, no, pull yourself together. You can do better. And by them being like that, that's the reason that I'm here today.
I love that. I love that. And listen, I wanna get you out of here on this question, and that is, I want you to think of about two or three stories that you have done
Mm-hmm.
in your young career so far that you've done that has impacted you in your career thus far. Because obviously you got a long way to go, and you're gonna be amazing in this industry. I don't think anybody will say anything different, but I would love to know some stories that you've done so far.
So my first one, I would probably say when I was a student. So I was just volunteering at the tab, the Cardiff tab, so the branch in Cardiff. I broke quite a big story, and it wasn't an important story. It was a silly little one. It was the boys from the students' union at the university. They got banned. That whoever was wearing a certain outfit got banned because of pretty much just bad
Wow.
behaviour. And I covered it, and I went to sleep that night not thinking anything of it. Then the next day, it was everywhere. I had a call. My friend got a call from someone they knew at Sky asking about me, Sky News. I had my article appeared in the BBC, and then it started appearing in other places, and the Times contacted me,
Right.
and then it started appearing all over. It was on the radio, it was on the TV, it just went everywhere. And it was the silliest little story,
Right.
but it was my first ever thing that got taken up. My first ever story got taken up by other external news sources, and it got me a TV interview. I was in the Sun. I was in the Times as well. My byline wasn't on it because obviously the other journalists had written it, but I was still so proud that I found the
Mhm.
story. So that was really exciting to me as a not being paid sort of journalist. That was my first experience of ending up, my story being in like the Daily Mail. Like, it was just crazy to me. And then after that, I would probably say I covered, when I was assistant editor at the Tab, there was a rape case that was a student that
Mm.
raped 10 women. He was done for 11 counts.
Wow.
And he's got life in prison now at the moment. And I covered it from the get go. So I covered it from the beginning. Then I got all of the police sent me all the evidence. They sent me interview footage. We covered the court case. I sent a reporter down to sit in court. I covered the sentencing. And it was a silly thing, but I beat BBC and Sky by 7 minutes to get the verdict out, which is 7 minutes in journalism is actually quite a lot of time.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I worked so hard on that. I was so invested in that story, which was so draining, hearing about how this man had drugged and assaulted these poor women, how they're
That's
still
crazy.
victims that haven't come forward, that might not realize that they were assaulted. That we only know about this through camera
Right.
footage. So that was it was just a massive one for me to cover. I'm such a big sort of person into crime and true crime, not committing crime, obviously, but it was a massive story for me to do. And then now I would probably say for my third one, I wouldn't say there's anything. So I've not broken anything that's been crazy while I've been at
Right.
Reach. Yeah, I've just been doing kind of normal bits. I've had some exclusives and
Right.
stuff, but I have had a couple of sillier stories. I mean, just like small stories. I've put sort of my own angle on that other people haven't maybe thought of, that have done really well views wise. And while, yeah, they might not be, it was like they were just Donald Trump stories. They're not these huge, big, life changing stories. It's great to think that when someone goes on Google, they think, do you know what? I'm going to click on Charles' article. That headline is calling to me. That picture is calling to me.
Sure.
And when you see these views go up into the hundreds of thousands, and you're thinking the population of a city is reading my article, that to me is, I know it's not a specific article as an example, but it just feels great to think that many people want to read what I have to say
Absolutely.
about the topic. So
Absolutely.
that it feels great. There's no better feeling. That's why I'm always reading my stats. There's literally no better feeling than knowing that people are putting their trust in me to read what I have to say about the situation, especially when it comes to Donald Trump, who is so divisive
And
anyway.
hello, you said it, and I definitely agree with that. I remember having my first story on the front page. Typically, you don't put a lot of sports stuff on front page unless it's a championship
Mm.
or unless it's something big. And I remember when I was writing the story, and I remember when I met this guy, and it was about the front page story was about a horse that he is going to run out of a local small town in the Kentucky Derby that won a few races. And we
Yeah.
know how big the Kentucky Derby is in Churchill Downs in sports. It's pretty big.
Hmm.
For him to come from this small town and for me to meet him and talk with him and write this feature story, and for me to have my picture and be like, picture by Chris Drummond, story by Chris Drummond. I was like, wow. I was in amazement. I was like, this is great. And people coming up to me while I'm pumping gas saying, wow, this is a pretty good story.
Hmm.
This is awesome. Just like you talked about the viewership. That stuff is why we do what we do. We love that. We love that kind of reaction. We love giving those kind of stories out. And I was really appreciative of them putting it on the front page because I didn't think they were going to do that, but they did it. And
Hmm.
I love that. So that was definitely a story that impacted myself for sure. Getting on the front page of a publication and being able to write a long form, sorry,
Yeah.
feature story with that. So I thought that was great. And this
Mm.
conversation has really been cool too. I think you are absolutely amazing. I think that's an understatement. I don't think anybody will ever say anything different about you. I think your friends will mention the same thing about you. You're great at obviously doing what you do with reporting. You're great and very passionate and advocating about reporting. You gave great advice. We know that you are a boneless chicken eater for sure, and you are a
Yeah.
heck of a netball player that you play a couple times a week, which I would not mind playing netball with you at all. when I do come to the UK. London is on the list as well. I want to say thank you
Hmm.
very much for coming in and bearing with me as it's late night over there or getting, close to 9 o'clock over there. I really do appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on my podcast. My final question to you, Charles, is there anything else that you would like to add about yourself, journalism, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Just that if anyone is listening and they have any questions about journalism or they want to break into the field, they just want someone to give them a bit of advice, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm just Charl Wright. You can look me up and you'll find me. And I'm always here to answer questions. I need to make sure that, we get more young people into journalism. We want to make sure that we're represented. So if anyone does want to reach out or have any questions, then my LinkedIn DMs are open.
Absolutely. I want you to definitely enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, the rest of your weekend. You know, you and I would definitely be in touch. I'm a new fan of yours,
Yeah.
and happy holidays to you and your family. You take care.
Thank you. You too.